Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're doing my Minnesota Timberwolves versus the defending champs Denver Nuggets. And if you guys haven't been here before, the way we do this is we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about the Timberwolves, 5 minutes talking about the Nuggets, and then at the last couple minutes of the video, because this is going to be like a 10 to 15 minute video, probably 15 minute video, I'll give my predictions on who I think will win and why and how many games, and then also talk about how I think the loser can still win this. So I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win and why and in how many games? Let's get right to it. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to start off with the Timberwolves. So this Timberwolves squad is a hungry machine. Have you guys ever seen the movie Point Break? They're young, dumb, and full of cum in a good way. And for me, I think when you look at this through 4 games, Anthony Edwards is dropping 31 points a night. Karl-Anthony Towns is dropping 19. Rudy Gobert is having 15 with 11 rebounds. And then you have 14 from Jaden McDaniels, 12 from Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's like literally been like 6th man of the playoffs so far. Mike Conley's dropping 12. 9.5 from Naz Reid, who's kind of having quieter. Kyle Anderson's having a defensive impact, but not much, playing time, only like 3 points. And same thing, Monte Morris, just breather. And if you look at the playoff stats, basically every stat that matters, the Timberwolves are like top 3. They're number 1 points per game, number 1 rebound team, number 1 true shooting, number 1 in free throw attempts and free throw mades. Okay, top 5 in field goal attempts and makes. 3rd best field goal percentage. And then on the defensive side, they're basically the best defense. And top to bottom, all right. First off, I've said this all playoffs. Anthony Edwards, this playoffs has gone to another level, and the way that he's playing right now, make bets, future bets, that he's going to be the MVP in 2024 to 2025. This kid's on another level. This kid's just 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. You got Karl-Anthony Towns, who's also over here also looking like Karl-Anthony Towns that we thought he was always going to be. And when you see this team match up for like the playoffs wise, how's it going to look? Okay. So the way that I see this in terms of who's going to be facing who, you got Jokic versus Rudy Gobert. Okay, Jokic and Karl-Anthony Towns. Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Aaron Gordon are going to be the front court face-off. And that's going to be a huge matchup. And depending if they can shut down Jokic, I think is going to be the biggest thing right there. While Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards are facing Jamal Murray and Contavious Caldwell-Pope, which I'm going to put my money, no offense to Jamal Murray, he's freaking fantastic, but the way Anthony Edwards is playing, I'm going to put my money on the backcourt of the Timberwolves being able to lock them up. And then the wings of Michael Porter Jr. going up against Jaden McDaniels. The whole thing with the Timberwolves is, the crazy part is the president, Tim Connelly, built the Nuggets, and then now he's built the Timberwolves. And I think he's built the Timberwolves to be able to fight against the Nuggets by being significantly bigger and having way more defenders. Because you got Jaden McDaniels going up against either Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, or Michael Porter Jr. You got Anthony Edwards going up against either Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray or Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Mike Conley is a great defender. He's going up either Contavious Caldwell-Pope or Jamal Murray. Then Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are going to take turns guarding Jokic and Aaron Gordon. And then you still have Kyle Anderson off the bench, who's another great defender. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker isn't anything to sneeze at. So arguably your worst defender is either Naz Reid or Monte Morris in the rotation so far that does get playing time. So when I look at it like that, the Minnesota Timberwolves are putting themselves in a position to just be bigger. Because after that, I think that the one thing that the Nuggets don't have working for them in terms of, if Christian Brown and Peyton Watson don't have great nights, so far, they haven't been huge scoring guys. And if you take Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson are all scoring in single digits, and they're like 3 key rotation guys. This is a team that's only going with a 7-man rotation, really. I mean, they do put Reggie and Justin in, but like for like a couple minutes a game. It's really Peyton and Christian coming off the bench for Contavious, Jamal, and Aaron and Michael, while Jokic feels like he's in the game for the entire time, except a little bit when DeAndre comes in. So if you can shut down Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. and just tell Jamal Murray and Jokic to beat you, or just take out Jamal Murray and tell Jokic just to beat you, that might be the recipe to beat the Nuggets. I think the other thing is the Nuggets still this playoffs. I mean, they're putting up the same amount of threes as the Timberwolves, but the one saving grace is maybe free throw attempts and just outshooting them. Like the Timberwolves could outshoot them. This could really be a shootout between the two teams, but the Timberwolves do have the size advantage and the defense advantage on the Nuggets. So let's go over and let's talk about the Nuggets. This is where it gets hard, ladies and gentlemen. Like, how do you choose which team are you going to pick? Because this is a Nugget squad that, believe it or not, is playing great. All right. They went ahead and beat a gentleman's sweep the Lakers. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic combined for 50 points a night. 50 points a night. Then you have Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. combining for 37 points themselves. So just their 4 dudes in their starting lineup are combining basically for 89 points. And they average 108 points so far as a team. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Christian Brown, and Peyton Watson are the main rotation. They do sprinkle in a little of DeAndre Jordan, Reggie Jackson, Justin Holiday, but really Christian Brown, Peyton Watson come in for Caldwell-Pope, Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, or Jamal Murray. And then I think they do a good job of staggering the minutes and keeping a starter out there. And the whole thing is this team's like one of the most efficient teams. They're equally, like I told you, Tim Connelly built this team and he built the team they're facing. So for them, Jokic and Aaron Gordon. Jokic is the MP, obviously. Jokic, if he can expose Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, that's going to be the whole key. Using Jokic and Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. to pull the Timberwolves defenders out into the perimeter and expose them. But the whole thing is there is Jaden McDaniels, there is Anthony Edwards, there is Mike Conley, and there is Kyle Anderson, who are 4 good perimeter defenders that the Timberwolves have. So that is something that, in comparison in years past, it is something that's going to have to be definitely honed in on, or definitely something that I think the Nuggets are going to have to pay attention to. But the Nuggets are the defending champs for a reason. They match up very well. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. going up against Jaden McDaniels and Karl-Anthony Towns, while Jamal Murray and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will be going against Anthony Edwards and Mike Conley. I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is going to be someone that they're going to have to ask to put up a bit more points. And it's not like he's not not able to do it. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a guy that last 2 years he's been a 10 points per game guy, but in Washington he was a 13 point per game guy. In Detroit he was a 14. Like, he can get those shots up. I think they need him to shoot closer to 6 threes a night in this series. That's going to be the whole thing. I think if they can shoot more threes, run through Jokic and Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. more, because the Timberwolves are going to focus on shutting down Jamal Murray and forcing Jokic to be doing everything himself. It's going to be interesting to see how the Nuggets can make sure that their offense responds so they can play accordingly. I do believe that one of the bigger things for them is making sure that they're a team that can be competitive in the break. I know one of the bigger things that some people might have concern is that the size and the length of the Timberwolves, plus the Timberwolves are, I'm gonna be quite honest, Timberwolves are a bit more athletic than the Nuggets. I'm not saying this is something that they need to worry about. No, it's just, we're just stating the obvious right here. The Timberwolves are a significantly more athletic team than the Nuggets, but the Nuggets are the more experienced veteran squad that realistically could go ahead and take advantage of the fact that, hey, maybe I just think that the Nuggets have all this experience, Michael Malone, the continuity. There's just a lot of things working in their favor in contrast to the Timberwolves that, there's a reason why people are going to be, favoring the Timberwolves in a matchup. So for me, I think it's really important when we look at this, you got to, understand that, okay, the Timberwolves They are in a position where, on paper, yes, they have more size. Yes, they arguably have, a deeper depth of players that they're able to go to. I just think with the continuity of this team, that primarily everybody in the rotation here was the part of the championship team last year, except for Peyton Watson, but Christian Braun was part of it, and they have guys that can rise up to the occasion, which I think is one of the more important things to consider when you look at a team like this. So I think there are things that work in their favor and that are, need to be considered, but I also am the first one to admit that, hey, we're looking at a matchup that is built by the same architect that built the Nuggets. So if there was anybody who could be thinking, okay, how do we, who has spent some time thinking about how you beat the Nuggets, it would be the freaking Timberwolves. So let's just put it in my predictions. All right. This is where, look, guys, like I said this, Rudy Gobert versus Jokic. I'm going to put Jokic as the winner of that battle. Aaron Gordon versus Towns. I'm going to put Towns in the battle, so the winner of that battle, 1-1. Michael Porter Jr. versus Jaden McDaniels. I'm going to put the Timberwolves there. Mike Conley versus Jamal Murray. I'm going to put that in Jamal Murray's favor, so it's 2-2. Anthony Edwards versus Contavious Caldwell-Pope. I'm going to put that in Anthony Edwards. So hypothetically, matchup-wise, and then also bench-wise, if we're talking Christian Braun, Peyton Watson versus the bench unit of Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid, I'm kind of leaning towards and Naz. And then you also still have Kyle Anderson. So it's hard to, I'm not sitting here, I'm still going to choose the Nuggets in 7 games. I think this is a 7-game series, and I'm a Timberwolves fan, and I think on paper we're sitting here and we're like, hey, this is a team that should be competitive, and this should be a series that should be competitive. And I think the Timberwolves strategy will be not being exposed on the perimeter, which I think they've built a roster to do that, and to outshoot and outscore the Nuggets, because at the end of the day, these teams are both good defensive teams, but they're also good offensive teams. And at this point, I think you're just going to have to hope to score and outscore them. While for the Nuggets, I think you're going to have to try to pull out Karl-Anthony Towns and expose him in the perimeter, because he's going to be a guy that you're hoping you're going to be able to put out there and, use Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and create mismatches by switching and put Jokic and Towns on an island with putting Gobert and Towns on an island and using Jokic, Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. to expose them in rapid succession, and then, out shooting a bunch of threes to create a large lead and force Anthony Edwards to do everything himself, is what I would think would be the best, course of action if I was the coach. There's other thing is how many, with the ruptured patella, it shouldn't be too many games, but there are going to be a handful of games that I potentially Mr. Chris Finch could miss because of his injury, but it shouldn't be too many. That is just something to consider. And for me, I think it's huge, because when you look at both of these teams, I think we've talked about this all video, they're very evenly matched up, but I think one team is going to try to expose the other on the perimeter, and then the other team is just going to try to outsize them, out-rebound them. And I think that's the big thing with the Timberwolves, is that they're going to try the outsize them approach, which I think is a valiant approach. They just have to understand that, will it work? Maybe. Will it not work? That too could happen. What it comes down to is, who do you think has the upper hand in this matchup? I'm just going to take the defending champs for a reason, and that's my 2 cents on that. I want to hear you guys' comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.